Welcome to the Business Outlook Survey press conference call. I'm Tom Elliott with the Public Affairs Department. With me today is Mike Treving, Senior Economic Analyst in the Research Department. Today we're going to talk about what manufacturing firms had to say about business activity in September. First, Mike will talk about today's report.
Good morning. Indicators from our manufacturing survey this month suggest that activity picked up this month. All of the survey's broadest current diffusion indexes were positive and were notably higher than in the previous month. The new orders also showed significant improvement, suggesting higher demand for manufactured goods. The broadest indicators of future activity continue to reflect improved optimism about growth for the next 6 months, with some indexes surpassing their highest readings since the end of the recession. And we'll just highlight that in our special questions this month, we asked for estimates of final third quarter production and their expectations for the fourth quarter for production.
All right, thanks, Mike. We're going to open it up to reporters for questions. Start with Ellen from Reuters.
So you're saying that there was some optimism expressed over the next 6 months, right?
Correct.
Yeah, okay. Any questions about the any comments offered about either Fed policy or the prospect of a debt ceiling issue coming up?
Actually, no. We didn't receive any commentary on that. We haven't asked any of those kind of special questions for some time. The only comments that we received from a few firms were impacts of sequestration. Some producers of products for the military, but most of the comments.
Did you say some makers of products for the military?
Yeah, some
right.
a few, very few, but those are the only things that come to mind related to policy in terms of the commentary.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions, Ellen?
No other questions. Thank
Okay,
you.
we'll go to Steve Goldstein from MarketWatch.
Hi there. So one of the questions that I have is there any reason to think that there were some conditions unique to the Philadelphia area? In particular, and I know these two surveys don't always go hand in hand, but the Empire State Index was much more modest, 6.3. Over the same time period, and obviously they're not too far away regionally. So just wonder, from your perspective, if you have a thought on maybe why this reading was maybe so much stronger than what some other surveys and what the more recent data would possibly have suggested.
Right. As you point out, the New York Fed's Empire State Index is similarly constructed. In fact, the questions are almost identical. There's a slight difference in the timing. We were still collecting data through Tuesday of this week after they published. But I can't say that difference in timing is attributable to the difference. All I can say is that when we look at the numbers across all of the industry groups and the way we slice the data by product types and that kind of thing, all of those suggested growth across a broader group of reporters this month. So we're fairly confident that the readings were consistent, and also as I point out in these press conferences, when all of the indicators are moving in the same direction, orders, shipments, and activity, it gives us a little more confidence about making statements about pickups and growth. So overall, a good positive reading, and of course, New York's numbers were also positive in terms of a diffusion index, which is really what we're trying to get at, whether there's growth or declines or things are just steady. This indicator suggested some growth. And also when we asked the special questions, we did get confirmation of positive growth or their estimates of positive growth in production through the third quarter, which hasn't ended yet. And on balance, more firms saying there would be an acceleration of production in the fourth quarter compared to the third quarter. So the comments plus the special question give us a little more information than just the diffusion indexes.
Hmm. And did you get, I'm not sure if, in some of these other surveys like ISM, they also collect anecdotes as well. Is that something that's done here? And I'm just wondering if you've heard, just what you've heard from these, the sort of purchasing managers.
Right. Well, one point is that they're not purchasing managers. These are almost all CEOs or plant managers or chief financial officers. So that makes the survey a little bit different than the ISM. We choose them, to be the top of the organization, and they've agreed to report. We do ask for their comments every month, and 3/4 of the firms typically do provide us commentary about general conditions, and we ask them about the growth for the next 6 months, or anything that's on their mind. And often the special questions will spark commentary when it's gives them more specific things to talk about. We use the indexes to make conclusions about growth, but often the comments are consistent with, and I'd say this month they are indeed consistent again with overall growth. Some firms, mentioning a pickup in orders and general activity. So we look for the comments to be consistent with the diffusion indexes.
Mm.
Any other questions, Steve?
Yeah, just a final one. Can we, and maybe this is a tougher question to answer, so if you can just, what kind of acceleration then should we infer from this report from the third quarter? I mean, I'm actually looking at the special questions. I guess the plurality, the largest one was an increase of less than 2% from in terms of production growth. So a pickup, but maybe not a strong acceleration. Is that kind of the right way you think we should read these numbers?
Well, in terms of the forecast, that they are indeed the firm's own forecast. So the forecasts are as good as they can be, I suppose. But in terms of acceleration, just from last month, we're fairly cautious in talking about an acceleration in growth, especially over the last few months where we've had this over the last 6 months where we've had fits and starts with the diffusion indexes. 1 month is good, followed by 1 month that's negative. So the fact that we've had 3 or 4 consecutive months of some of these broad indicators gives us reason to think that there is indeed growth. I would not go so far to say that there's accelerated growth at this point.
Okay. Okay, great.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm going to check in one more time with Ellen from Reuters. Any follow-up questions?
Nothing, thanks.
All right, Ellen and Steve, thank you for calling in today.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right. Okay, look for next month's survey at 10 a.m. on Thursday, October 17th.